Hello, and welcome to episode 149 of Checkpoint Chat. My name is Alessandro Barbosa. I'm joined as always by Matthew Figueroa.
Oh, you gave me a mild heart attack there.
Because I went all soft.
For those who don't know, we always have this little 5-10 second silence before Alessandro kicks off the show. Except that I knew he was going to kick it off, but he was just very energetic this morning. Did you get a good night's rest?
I did actually. I went to bed like earlier than usual,
Right.
and then didn't get up for a run. So I feel like I actually slept.
You got a
Yes.
good 10 hours of sleep. 9-10 hours. No.
Yeah,
less.
which is real rare for me. So I'm feeling good. You went for a 13K run, so you are
did.
ready for a second morning
I'm
nap.
fresh. Yeah, I feel fresh now, but it's always in the afternoon where it catches up. You're like, oh, why?
Mm.
I went to bed late because playing some stuff, Friday evening shenanigans, always a good time.
That's always the hard thing. It's like you get to Friday and you want to stay up and play stuff, but then it's like the whole week has hit you. So then, I don't know, I often on Friday nights, I like want to push through and play something, but then I feel so tired. And then if I push through and end up trying to play something, then I just get frustrated because I'm tired.
Yeah,
So,
I get that. It's funny how, as we both get older, it starts to become more apparent that we are older because I don't know. It's very often. Look, there are often still weekends where I stay up late playing games, but it does happen sometimes where I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna play till 1-2 in the morning, and then come like 10 p.m. I can't keep my eyes open. I'm like, oh my god, I just can't do this. And now I like climb into bed, and I'm like, oh, I'm awake again. How did this happen?
I mean, you still do a lot more when you do your streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays, twitch.tv/Erinese.
Yes.
Then you usually up to like 1-2, and
Yeah,
I
but-
do not know how you do it.
But I end up sleeping in the next. Well, I just need 7 hours. It's 6 to
Sleeping
7. I do. This remote work thing has just shaved off travel time, which means more sleep time, which is just.
That is very true. Rolling
which
out
is
of bed
great.
straight into your desk time.
I roll into my meetings in my pajamas. It's don't tell my boss. We never put
pretty
our
sure
cameras
they
on
do it too.
anyways.
Yeah, exactly. So then you're fine. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you dressed as. If you're there, you're there.
Well,
And
I'm
if
not
you're
I'm
ready to
not
work,
client
you're ready to work.
facing, so it doesn't matter really.
God, if you're client facing, do you have to like suit up? Do you have to be presentable on your camera?
Well, I think look, I think in post COVID, it must be quite difficult being like an account manager or a client facing person because you don't get those face to face meetings anymore. So it's, I suppose, a lot harder to build up relationships or more personable relationships. So I think in those instances, like if you're meeting someone for the first time, it's polite to have your camera on Teams, whatever. So yeah, whatever you wear in your bottom half's up to you, but I think top half you got to look presentable at least.
Whatever you wear in
You
your
can't like lie in bed like sup. I'm here to offer you some premium
you
IT
turn on the
services.
camera and you're just eating like scrambled eggs. You're just chowing down a smoothie. Yeah, have your cat on your shoulder. Well,
oh my god,
every now you see
that's
you
a
can be
conversation
clever.
starter.
Exactly. You like everyone knows everyone's working from home, so there's certain things that like I find endearing. Like every now and then, someone on a meeting would be like, "Sorry, my dog is barking." I'm like, "That's fine, man.
Oh, you have a
Dogs
dog?
are cool." Yeah, exactly. Like
What
no
kind
one
of
cares
dog is
about
it?
that shit. So yeah, I mean, there are still, I think, instances where some people expect the like decorum to be the same as the office, but like we got to all admit that these are strange times.
Yeah, for sure.
And embracing that is a lot more fun and more natural than like trying to pretend that no one's working from home because that's just stupid. So
yeah, and also we don't know how long this is going to last still.
fuck, who knows?
Because even vaccines aside, there's these, variants busy
The Delta strain.
having a YOLO in other countries that have been vaccinated. It's like, okay.
Yeah, Australia and UK having a fucking great time with this new virus. It's So by the
Nice.
time we get vaccinated,
Hooray.
who knows? We'll probably need another. I mean, the general consensus is that we'll need to get vaccines every year anyway, sort of like your flu shot. So it's just our
Well,
life now.
I'm grateful because I know we still a ways out to getting our vaccines, but my company told us yesterday that we will be given a sick day for, when it does come around to us getting our vaccine, which I don't think many companies will do. I think
I haven't heard of many companies do that. No.
So, because obviously, my company's it's actually funny because, I think in mid-July, over 50-year-olds, they'll be eligible to go get vaccinated. And our ops manager's like, yep, over 50s. No one in this company's over 50. And then after it's like, oh, there's one dude who turned 50 like a month ago. He's so old.
I told Jeff he's just
oh my
on
god,
the cusp.
he's right there.
Yeah, I'm glad because it means my parents can go get vaccinated, so that's cool. But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I mean it's coming, and I'm glad folks like teachers have got it. So Gott's
Abigail,
wife Abigail
very
got
chuffed
it.
to see that. Yeah,
very glad because I mean those are the people who their job forces them to interact with like 30 children or whatever per day, or who all come from 30 houses. So your risk is like
and kids are plague
exponentially
monkeys.
higher.
Let's be honest.
Exactly. Kids. I mean, kids might have an idea of how serious this is, but they're still kids. So yeah, I'm really glad that that's happened because healthcare workers obviously need it, but teachers I think were like next in line.
They're
that
definitely
really
next in line.
Needed it.
Yeah.
I saw something about the police complaining that they didn't have it. I'm like, okay. Cool.
It's weird though because I'm part of obviously my network group here where I live now, and I'm still on my old Kensington network group because I used to live there, and I've just never left. I like to see what's going on in that hood, and interestingly, like I'd say in the last month, our local police station here has had to close because of COVID cases, and then just this week in Kensington, one of the police stations also had to close because they've had like COVID cases. So it's like, I kind of, I mean, just from those anecdotes, like I get why the police maybe are like, hey, where's ours? But I kind of also get that, they are not nearly as exposed as
they
teachers.
They don't interact with as many people, yeah.
So I'm like, what are you doing that you're getting these outbreaks?
Exactly.
So I don't know. Maybe just negligence, who knows. Anyways.
I also stuck on my old like the community groups on WhatsApp for my old area. The best one is the fiber. Like we had like a fiber group, and just seeing it's almost every day now. It's like fiber's down, and like I do not miss living there at all because I never have fiber issues anymore.
My most annoying thing is, so we've got a couple of network groups here. And it's funny because WhatsApp's got limits, right, on how many people can be in a group. So like I'm on a network group and Lenska's on another one. So we often get little stories from each group. Like, I can't believe Barbara in this group said this. Like, what happened in your group? To like, oh no, like Frank said this. Oh, I can't believe it. But without fail, on both groups, whenever there's load shedding, there's always one person's like, are we being load shed today? What time? Like, for goodness.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's like there's apps, there's resources to get this. It's like you're just lazy. You're using this group as Google.
Yeah, power cut. Someone's like, are we being load shed? I'm like, oh, come on. And without fail, some random person will send a screenshot like, yes, we are. Back at
I love the passive aggressiveness sometimes.
Yes.
It's so good. It's just like, and I mean, community groups like that are like casual passive aggressiveness and then casual racism constantly.
I must say there's like very subtle in our group, but not nearly as bad as some groups I've seen.
Like some groups are bad.
Yeah, it's like, hello, why do you think this is okay? What year do you live in?
We used to have this lady in the old WhatsApp group who was very outspoken in like every time she saw a black guy walking on the street, like, please go investigate, please go. It's like it's real blatant what you're doing.
Our pet peeve though is when there's someone like, oh, I've got my domestic is looking for work. They're hardworking and trustworthy. And we're
Yeah,
like,
like,
in
do
what?
you put trustworthy on your CV, Matty?
Yeah. I remember the last time I was interviewed, like, cool, you can write, but are you trustworthy?
Yeah, will you steal from the
I
company?
was like, listen, I'll try my best.
My God. Yeah, you know, I can't promise anything. On Wednesdays, I just get this urge
Those
to like
teaspoons in the
really
drawer.
thieve.
Better keep counting those because I'm going to pocket
People
those.
bring lunch that day. They are not eating it because I
Listen,
am.
that does happen in offices though. So maybe we should start putting I'm
I
trustworthy.
cannot believe that. Like, how like, it just like blows my mind. Like, there's only a certain number of people in an office. So what makes you think you can get away with stealing someone else's lunch? Firstly, why? Like, it's not your lunch. Like, just don't do it.
I think if an office is big enough, like you could 100% get away with it. Because like our office has 100 people. I mean, obviously no one's really going to office now, but at peak time, I 100% believe someone could just help themselves to something in the fridge and no one would know unless you were that person going like, hey, what are you doing with my food?
I just don't get it. Like, did you grow up stealing food from kids in the playground? Like, is this just an urge that you haven't like forced out your system?
Yeah,
you
were that bully on the playground. Give me your lunch money.
when I worked in an office where we had like a communal fridge, if I saw something in there that had been there for a while and I wanted it, I'd ask. I wouldn't just take it. And more often than not, someone would be like, "Oh yeah, I'm not really gonna have that. Just have it." And I'm like, sick.
Sweet, take it. Yeah, but
I mean, I did once. Like, I used to buy energy drinks, and every now and then there used to be like specials, so I'd like keep some in the office because I'd have them in the office. And then one day I came in on a day off because I needed to pick up something, and I saw some dude drinking the energy drink, and he's like, "Oh, I knew you weren't coming in today, so I just had it." I was like, "What the fuck?" Like,
because I was not going to come in and have it. That son of a bitch.
Oh my God, I can't deal. This checkpoint chat talk about video games and stealing each other's lunch.
Nice. We like stealing food. It's a good time.
Well, I mean, speak for yourself. This is a 50% thieving podcast, clearly.
Can't confirm that I have.
This is why your cats always ask for food, because you steal their lunch.
I steal their food.
Steal their tuna.
Lupin walks in. I'm head neck deep in his bowl, and I turn around and go, "Oh, I thought you weren't going to come home this afternoon." I'm so sorry. Good Lord.
So it's been a busy week, but there's been some games that have come out, especially last night. We got to tee off in Super Mario. What's it? Hold on. Mario Golf Super Rush? Is it that?
I just call it Mario Golf.
Let's see.
But yes, I mean, you're listening to this on Monday or sometime this week. The game launched last Friday. And yeah, we were both fortunate enough to get copies apiece. So we can we can settle our disputes on the fairway like adults, okay? And
on the green.
On the fairway and the green, you know, those difficult putts. And let me tell you, I played probably a good 3-4 hours yesterday already, and I'm having a pretty swell time with this game.
Game's good. Game is good. Yeah, I think, well, I don't know about you, but I only played the online games that I played with you and friend of the show, Keegan.
And we played just like normal golf. Normal golf.
Well, you put on the special shots.
With special shots, yeah. But we didn't play any of the, you know, the exclusive speed modes or battle modes or...
I did see you mentioning earlier in the day you were playing with Frank, friend of the show too. And the one thing that caught my eye was like, you don't need to wait for other people to take their shots. Like, you just play. And I didn't really understand how that worked until I played it, and it's really nice. So essentially everyone plays the hole at the same time, and you can interfere with each other, which is quite an interesting aspect. But you don't have to like take your shot and then wait for someone to take their shot, and then you know, it's not like Mario Party where everyone's taking their turns sequentially. You just play, and once you've sunk the ball, then you wait for everyone to do the same, and then you know, you go to the next. So it's actually quite a like brisk pace to
I
it, and
mean,
I very much
we
like it.
we finished 2 courses yesterday, like 18
Yeah,
holes back to
casually.
back in what, like under an hour, I'd say, maybe
Yeah,
an hour.
yeah.
Because it is like you're all playing at the same time, and it's quite cool because you kind of all tee off at the same time. You see where everyone's balls land,
Mm.
and then eventually if you either you finish the hole first, you can watch other people finish up, or you don't finish the hole and you get to feel all the eyes on you as you make that
Yeah.
that long distance putt.
Oh man, I let me tell you, I started off the night not knowing how to putt because I was really, really bad at it, and by the end of it, I was sinking these long putts, which felt
Mm.
so good. When you sink a long putt, you're just like,
Let me just tell you, just on that, the sounds out of golf in general, just golf games, it's pure ASMR. There's nothing more satisfying than, the sound of a driver
oh
hitting the
yeah.
ball, or like the putter, putting the ball and then hearing that ball sink in. And, oh, it's too good.
Let me
But
tell
yeah.
you, the worst sound is the rustling of the leaves when you touch a tree and your ball just drops to the ground.
It is so funny. Lenska was busy like doing stuff next to me, and I'm playing with headphones. We're not chatting or anything. And every now and then I was like, fuck. It's a goddamn tree. Because by that point, so I'd played like an hour or two more than you and Keegan had, because like I started playing straight after work, and like I'd obviously got comfortable with the bare bones basics of the game, basics of the game, and then I started trying to get fancy because there is depth in terms of how you can add spin to each shot, the distance you choose, that sort of thing. So, I mean, and the one tutorial's like, with some shots you can like curve the ball at the beginning of your shots and the end of your shot. So, for example, you could curve your ball like to the left around a tree and then back right after it's gone past the tree. Like if you're really good, because I don't know how to do that.
I
But
think
like,
you need like certain segments on your power bar
yeah,
for that or something. Yeah.
yes. But I was trying to be fancy with whoever I was playing as. I'm like, I'm going to curve around this tree, and I just ended up hitting my ball into the tree, like 9 out of 10.
At least did you ever sink it in the pond?
The last hole we played in one course, I watched my ball like just make it onto the fairway because there's like this huge body of water on the right. So it's like a high risk, high reward thing. Like you can maybe make it over, be closer to the hole, play it safe and just land it. But obviously all of us like, we're all going far here. And I watched my ball like just make it on. And I watched Keegan's like as my ball's flying, like just hit the side of the fairway and then bounce back into the water. I was like, oof,
God,
feel that
I wasn't
pain.
even close. I think mine landed in the middle of the pond. So I completely misjudged that entire thing.
I think next time we all need to be on Discord or something, because there was some moments I was like, wow, that is a really good shot. Or I was like, oh, I wish I could tell you how bad I feel for you.
Yeah. There was some where you just like missed the hole by like millimeters.
It like rims the hole. You're like, no.
Yeah. Or some like chip ins where you hit the pole and it just bounces away. And you're like,
I had that one hole it was like a par 3, and my first shots I like bounced and whacked the pole. I was like, oh, damn this game. Yeah, but
it's good. It's like
it's good.
I mean, if you've ever played an arcade golf game, it's kind of like I feel like it's a bit more advanced than some arcade golf games that I've played. Like you have to take into consideration where the ball will bounce and how the surface will carry it, like carrying as in how
like
the ball will roll after
ball
it
roll,
bounces, how the wind will affect your shot. And then you can do things like adding topspin or backspin to your shots, and like you said, curving the ball, which wow, I didn't realize that even just one arrow of curve like really fucking curves that ball.
Yeah, try adding 3 arrows.
My goodness, yeah. Then you're playing Mario Golf Wanted Edition. You're just bending the balls like bullets. Like, so yeah, I think it's very familiar. Like I read through the tutorials and I was like, okay, cool. This is the power meter, and I didn't realize that you don't need to press that bar the second time. Once you've set your power, when it rises again, that's just for you to set your spin. You don't actually have to press it a second time. It just stops where your power stops.
Okay, I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah, I figured that out about halfway through our playtime.
Oh my god. Every time I was like, shit, I'm perfect at this game. Every time.
So I at first I was like, okay, maybe you have to hit it to be more accurate. But then, as an experiment, I left it, and it would be like, nice shot. And I'd be like, okay, well,
I did
clearly I
nothing.
don't need to press
Okay.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So it's very fun. I think I think some character special shots are more bullshit than others.
There are some.
So like special shots are when as you play, you build up like a sort of stamina meter, and when that's full, you can do your character's special shot, and a lot of characters share the same like attributes to them. So I think Mario's knocks other balls out of the way, something like that. But I think the most bullshit one is Luigi's, where it freezes the ground where it lands. And let me tell you, when you're playing that shot and you're seeing your ball in the air rising, and then next thing the ground below you freezes, you're like, fuck my life. Because it just hits the ground and bounces.
It bounces. So
like,
it's interesting because I think, so we said like in this mode, we're all playing at the same time, right? So it's kind of hard to gauge what the other player is going to do because you're all just hitting the ball at the same time. Whereas if you're playing turn by turn, you would know, oh shit, like Luigi has frozen that patch of the fairway.
Exactly.
Like, let me play around that. But it happens. Keegan did it to me first time where I'd lined up a shot. My ball was going like perfectly, like just it's going to bounce on the fairway, land on the green. Except like as my ball was flying, the ground below it froze and it bounced like straight over the green. I was like, oh my god!
And it's an intense bounce. It's like not. It's like. If it's on the green, you're not going to land on the green, straight up.
Because what did I do? Is one of the follow-up games, I played Luigi, and I made sure that I hit that ice thing onto the green, like as soon as I could, and then I was busy putting, and I watched your balls just bounce off the green. And let me tell you
guys,
I had a big grin in my face. It was perfect.
It's the most bullshit.
Listen, it happened to me as well. I don't know whose it was, but one time I was putting. And like putting's the one. Look, driving and that sort of thing, like lining up a shot, that's you can do it pretty quickly. You just get your power meter going. Putting is, you have to take your time, especially if you're far. You have to be like, well, which way is the sloping? How much power do I need? So you have to line up the shot. So I'm doing a particularly tricky shot, taking my time, seeing like where's this thing sloping, and then someone's power shot like exploded on the green, and my ball went yeeting off.
Oh, that was probably mine. I didn't know it did that.
I was so mad.
I was playing as oh man, what's her name? She's the mayor of New Donk City.
Oh shit!
God, now I've just got like all the other names. Huh?
Yeah, it's Lucia.
Oh, it's Pauline. Sorry.
Who am I thinking of then? Yeah, it is Pauline.
You're thinking of Rosalina. Rosalina's weird because she doesn't touch her clubs. She uses her wand, which is. I was watching you play as her, and it just looked strange.
It's weird, yeah.
Yeah. So it's Pauline, which I think she has the same ability as Mario, because I think there's only like 4 or 5 abilities in total, and then characters share them.
Yeah.
But hers is like a power drive, so it hits balls out of the way. So I must have just chose to land nearby yours, and it just knocked your ball away, which is I didn't realize it did that. I thought that ability was more for use in speed golf, where I could hit other golfers. You know what I mean? It is really fun though, because she sings a bit of the song from Mario Odyssey, and then hits the ball with her microphone, which I thought was pretty nice.
That's cool.
The animations and the actual look of the game is really good. I think it's nice. Yeah.
So I think overall, run smoothly, looks great. Only when I'm putting sometimes, even playing on I played handheld and on screen, some of the lines I'm like, it looks like it's just not crisp. It wasn't to me. Like when I have to like pull open that overhead map, zoom into like, oh, okay, the lines are flowing this way, or how steep is this thing? Which other than that, but the game, runs perfectly. And even I think South African people would be pleased to know that at least playing with other people online works like a charm. Like I hosted. I don't know if you guys had any.
I had no issues. I mean, every now and then it would say the little connection thing would be red, but I wouldn't.
You wouldn't
notice that in game. Like
and look, I tried a game online with complete randoms, and that was it worked, but like lining up my shots, my power meter, everything that I had no lag. I think that happens my side, obviously. But the actual animations and stuff, it's like, when you're lagging, there's just a little bit of judder. You can still play though, like it does work.
See, I think that would become more of a problem when you're playing speed golf, where in between shots, it's like you're still
you
playing.
have to, yeah. So we need to test it out still. We haven't. I thought that might be a bit too much to start off with.
Yeah, no, I'm very glad we played normal golf last night, because that alone, like, I was still figuring out certain things, and still trying to get comfortable with, like, okay, if I hit the ball slightly less than here, this is likely where it's going to land.
Yeah.
So there is I found the same, because it's developed by Camelot, who did
Mario
Tennis Aces.
Yeah,
and I felt it was the same there. Like, eventually you learn the little, the intricacies of the play, and then you feel comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So, is this the first game you invited me using like a system level invite? I've never seen that.
Let me tell you, I've also never seen that. Frank gave me one yesterday as one. I was like, hang on,
I've never seen that.
Although, so look, it's amazing. So it works great, right? And it's cool because we're both like, wow, I can't believe this. I can't believe Nintendo finally did it. This is a normal feature in on other platforms.
Yeah, this is like a normal thing that most consoles, like every game, supports and launches with. It's been 5 years.
Yeah, it's still a bit rough around the edges because I was in the game. Frank gave me an invite. I was like, oh, cool, this is awesome. So I go and accept the invite, and it restarted my game to accept that invite.
Same thing.
So
I was super confused by that.
So I was like, okay, it doesn't take long to load, but that is weird that is the the
it's
workaround.
Like you got it can't just transport you to a lobby. It has to like launch the game with that flag enabled.
Yeah. It's like, do you want to restart the game? And I'm like, but I'm in the game.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I was also a bit like confused by that, and
but look, it works.
But it worked. It got me in your lobby pretty quickly. But I mean, you can also you can search lobbies by code. You can search lobbies by your friends, so you don't need to use that feature. But yeah, it was super strange because I was waiting to just like search on friends, and then I got this like system level notification like you've been invited to a game. I'm like, what? What is this? This is so cool.
It's weird, yeah. It works though, and that's the most important thing. So yeah, I'm look, still early days, but I'm really enjoying the game, and I'm keen to play
I just like playing online, like we did yesterday. We played for an hour, played a few holes, tons of fun. And just like Tennis Ace, I got real deep into Tennis Aces when it came out. Like, I adored that game. And I played a lot online. I don't know. Every now and then there's a Nintendo multiplayer game that I get really invested into online. Like ARMS, when it came out, I got deeply invested playing online. Same thing with Splatoon and Tennis Aces. So I don't know if Mario Golf will be that again, but I've had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun last night playing with you and Keegan. So because it was just fun, like watching, like you said, watching you guys make dumb shots or make incredible shots.
Most amazing.
That was good.
There was one time, I think, I can't remember what happened, but I either blundered a shot or Keegan did something to me that like put me on the back foot. But then I like chipped the ball in. I was like,
yeah, I saw that.
Thank you.
I was like, what the fuck? I used to, like every game we played, I started off so poorly, and then I reeled you guys in like really slowly.
We pulled away, then you often just caught up. It's good time.
I like figured things out way too late, and then like in the last two holes, you usually did like exceedingly well. I'd be like one shot away from you, you'd be on like -1 of par, and then you'd end on -5, and I'd be like, what the hell? How? Yeah.
It's just luck. So some of that stuff is just luck. I mean,
I still want to get a hole in one. That is my goal. Once I get a hole in one, then I'll retire my Switch.
I think it's possible. I mean, the game, like we said, it's interesting because it's very accessible. Like it's not at all complicated to understand how to hit a ball. But like you've pointed out, it's just there is that level of depth of, okay, if you want to start getting fancy, you can start adding spin and all these other things to, really get around some obstacles or get that pinpoint shot.
I mean, it depends on the hole as well. Some holes, the hole's just too far away, but some of them, you can drive straight to the green. So I'm sure there's ways.
You'll definitely get some hole in ones. Yeah.
Can't wait to record that and share it on Twitter.
Get all that clout.
Exactly, that Mario Golf clout.
Okay, we'll be playing more of that going forward.
Yeah, definitely. What else you been busy with this week?
So interestingly enough, let me just get a little timestamp here. I don't know if you grabbed it, but Epic had Overcooked 2 free about a week or two ago.
I actually don't know if I grabbed it. I may have forgotten.
Look, the game's not expensive. I think it's like 150, but free is just a good price.
Yeah,
you can't say
is
no
a good
to
price. Yeah.
So Chillo pointed it out to us, and he said this would make a great game. It would be a fun game to stream together.
Of course, Cello pointed it out. He's like the orchestrator of chaos. So.
Of chaos, exactly. So I grabbed it, and we streamed it on. We streamed for about 3.5 hours on Tuesday, and then 2 hours on Thursday, and we finished it. It's a short campaign. I mean, we didn't 3-star every level, but we did relatively well across the whole campaign. And let me tell you, if you've played Overcooked 1, you're not prepared for Overcooked 2 because every level. So just for those of you who don't know, Overcooked is literally a multiplayer cooking game where you essentially run a kitchen where the whole goal really is to just put together meals and serve them as quickly as you can. See, now that's what it is on paper. But what the game does is throws the wildest scenarios at you, or hazards, or recipes, and all at the same time.
Kitchen layouts.
Kitchen layouts. Like there's so the game starts out easy enough where, for example, the first kitchen you do, the tutorial level, it's like, okay, we want you to serve salads. So there's only 2 ingredients, it's lettuce and tomatoes. You have to grab
garbage salad. Wow.
It's like really basic bitch salads. So, for example, if you want to make a salad, someone will have to grab a lettuce and chop it. Someone else will have to grab a tomato and chop it. You have to put it on a plate and then serve it. Like, it's as simple as that. But as the levels progress, it becomes a thing of, for example, okay, we're making pizza in this restaurant. Now we need to get dough. You need to prepare the dough. You need to prepare the cheese. You need to prepare tomato. You need to prepare mushrooms. You need to put them all together. You need to put this into an oven. You need to then take it out the oven, put it on a plate, serve it. That plate comes back. Someone needs to wash it, to plate up the next thing. But see, that in itself is a process, right? Like there's a lot to consider because not every order is the same. Some pizzas have, different toppings to others. And then it becomes a thing of, okay, well, this level's laid out in the way that only 2 people can grab ingredients and only 2 people can prepare, for example. So now it becomes a thing.
Yeah, it'll be like segmented, so you can't actually like go across to other parts of the kitchen. Yeah.
And I don't think this was a thing in Overcooked 1, but in Overcooked 2, you can throw ingredients.
Yeah, that's a new thing. Yeah.
It becomes a thing of you could be segmented. Every person has a corner of the kitchen, but I can't go do dishes, for example. Like that, someone has a sink on their side. So they'll have to wash the plate, put it on a shared counter for me to grab. Or I've got, ingredients on the side. I have to pick them up and throw them across a chasm to reach the other chef. And it's just like it
sounds like absolute chaos.
It is absolute chaos, but it is good fun. Every level presents a sort of puzzle in a sense of like, oh my God, how are we going to get around this level? Like, and it's funny because every level you start, you just think this is impossible. Like my immediate thoughts is, I don't know how we're going to do this. And then you do it. And you think, shit, I can't believe I did that. And then you panic because you're like, oh my God, the next level is going to be even harder than this. And they don't let up until, I think there's 6 worlds in total with 6 levels apiece. So 36 levels, and they just get progressively harder and harder.
I've seen some of the, because I haven't finished Overcooked 2. I played a lot of the first one, but I've seen some wild. I can't. You see, I get them muddled in my head, but I don't know if it's in 1 or 2. But there's a kitchen eventually, like in a volcano, where the stoves are actually rotating around you. You can't access them, so you've got to put something on a stove and make sure that you put it on to a point where by the time it's finished cooking, it's right by you to pick up again, which is, I think that might be in 1, but yeah.
There's a level in this game where there's a floating platform which someone has to control. So imagine a square where it's got, for example, top left's got ingredients, top right's got your stove, bottom right's got like the sink. So you all have to be on the platform. Someone has to control the platform and fly you guys to each station because you can't run to either one. The platform's your only means to get there. So it requires some insane coordination, coordination and communication, to get around that.
Cool.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
It's this weird thing of the game is like weirdly stressful, but also equally satisfying when you do it. You're like, oh man, that is some good fun. But when you're in the thick
Yeah,
of it, like,
that was easy. Yeah.
I can't believe this is happening. Yeah. Good party game. And I mean, there's a whole lot of DLC as well. So like I said, the main campaign took us like 5.5 to 6 hours. So it's like a cool little party game to keep you and your friends busy for an evening or two. If you want more, there's a ton of DLC with. I don't even want to know what other levels that game has, because what I saw with my own 2 hours was really bullshit. So I can't imagine what they thought up, for additional content.
Yeah.
But what's cool is
it's a great game, and I think I mean you streamed with 4 people. I've never played it with 4 people. It looks like absolute chaos
we
with
need
4
to play.
people.
So with 2 people, I wanted to ask, are there only 2 chefs, or do you have okay, so you can't, because I know you can play this game 1 player. I'm like, that is
Yeah, I do not advise that.
yeah, that is not the way to play this game. That sounds like actual hell.
No, with 2 people you only have 2 chefs, but I think your goals for
it's balanced.
success are lower. Yeah,
it's definitely balanced that way. But with 4 people, it becomes a thing of if you want to run a kitchen effectively, you kind of have to take on roles of like, someone should call out the orders, someone should be exclusively on, for example, like washing dishes and plating stuff or something. Somebody should be responsible for cutting and cooking. So you divvy up those roles, and then, like I've already pointed out, it gets a little bit more complex when it's like, oh shit, now we need to consider throwing ingredients across, or this bridge to the other side is going to disappear every 15 seconds. Like, how do we plan around this? Sure. So what I wanted to say is that I think it is on like just about every platform now.
Yeah.
And there is crossplay online, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's why.
True.
I think that's why. So it's free on Epic. It was to sort of commemorate this big update. That I haven't played with random people online, so I can't tell you how effective that is.
I don't know how great that would be. Like you said, it's all about communication.
Yeah, we were all in a Discord talking to each other. So yeah, I don't know how to be with randoms, but it's cool that exists. So like, if you and a friend, you have a Switch version, your friends on PC, you guys can just hop into a Discord and play multiplayer with each other, which is pretty cool.
Because I've mostly played it on Xbox and I think on PlayStation, whatever.
Yeah,
but,
I played Overcooked on Switch.
I've only really played with with Shani, so yeah, she enjoys it. She enjoys it in small
and you guys
doses.
are together still, so it's good.
Yeah,
that is the true test of a relationship and friendship.
It's a communication simulator.
It really it's a patience and communication simulator.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
But yeah, I really enjoyed that, so would recommend. Not free anymore, unfortunately, but
good.
But super cheap. Would pick it up.
I think it might be on Game Pass. I'm not sure.
It
used to be.
I don't know if it still is.
Yeah,
might still
I don't know if it still is, but it definitely was at a point, because I think that's how I played it on Xbox at the time, was through Game Pass. So yeah, game is good. Even the first one, like if you see them and you haven't played any of them, and then only the first one's like on sale, I would suggest picking that one up
also
as
really
well,
good.
because it's seriously good. Like you said, the only difference, well, okay, I wouldn't say the only difference, but the biggest difference is being able to toss your ingredients. And also the complexity of the recipes is different in the second one. I feel like there's more complexity in the second one. So yeah. Game's good.
Yeah, it's good fun.
What's your favorite Overcooked recipe?
I think pizzas are probably the simplest to do, because you can literally just throw them all in the same place and then just toss it in the oven, which is pretty cool. You don't have to do too many complicated things, I don't think.
Pizzas are good, yeah. I think I liked in the second one they added sushi, which was
you do
neat.
sushi, Yeah, that can be a pain though.
Yeah, can be
You do have
definitely
to
a
cook it
pain.
at least. Well, yeah.
Burgers are always a winner.
Yeah, those
I
are,
do,
you only have to fry the meat.
yeah, I do like the subtle variations between some. It's like, and they're very sneaky because the recipes are shown to you as a picture on the
Yeah,
top, like it just comes through on the top. And sometimes the variations between them will be tiny, and you won't notice. Like it will be like a burger without tomato or something,
yeah.
or
But
or
I don't
like
know.
mhm.
I don't know if this is new to the second one. Maybe it wasn't in the first one, but in the second one, it shows you each ingredient. So it'll show you the picture, then underneath it,
No, it
what you
does that
need.
in the
Yeah,
first one. You're right.
yeah.
You're right. It does that in the first one.
But
Like
when you
it'll be like soup, and it'll be like 3 mushrooms or whatever to make the
yeah,
soup
but
or
when it's
whatever.
chaotic and you're trying to keep track of orders, like it's yeah,
Where's
you
my
serve
fucking tomato?
the wrong plate, and then some customers like I didn't order this.
Yeah, yeah. And then you've also got to keep track of like which orders came in first, which can
mm,
we serve first, because you get a bonus
you
if you
get
serve
bigger
the
tips. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So it's fun. Like it, especially when you're hunting for 3 stars, it becomes real
Then you
intense
have
and
to
it's fun. Yeah.
when you finish the second one, you unlock the ability to get a 4th star, which I don't even want to imagine. That must be like you have to run each kitchen like just
Flawlessly, probably.
flawlessly. Yeah.
Are there kitchens with rats in this one still?
No.
So in the first one, some kitchens had rats and they'd steal your ingredients, and that was a real fucking
Those
annoyance. Like
sons of
you'd
bitches.
you'd have something on a cutting board or like on whatever, and they would just run it there, grab it, and take it away, and you're like,
Why?
seriously? Yeah.
Yeah. Still has a fire extinguisher though. You know, you got to
The
put
little
out those
boost button
fires.
in that game is real fun, like running
Mm.
around and boost, boost, boost.
It's
It's
good
fun.
until you get pushed off a narrow ledge with a meal you're about to serve.
I'm sure there's it was like a classic level in the first one, but I'm sure it's in the second one where the kitchen is split between 2 moving trucks.
There were no moving. Were there moving trucks? I don't think there were moving trucks in this one.
Oh
But I mean,
man, I
there's
hate that
similar
one.
levels. Yeah,
It's
it's
like
crazy.
the kitchen is like connected, and then every now and then the 2 trucks split. So whatever kitchen you committed to, you just got to be there for the next like minute and make
Yeah,
sure that you've got your shit going. And then it's crazy.
it's
It's real good.
madness. Yeah, would recommend.
That
Uh,
is awesome.
Overcooked. Anything else you want to talk about?
Not really. I've got a bunch of games on my plate to play. Like I've started playing Chicory for review.
Oh,
Very excited
nice.
to continue playing that this weekend. We've got code for Scarlet Nexus, so we'll be playing that eventually. But mostly, I mean, the limited time I've had this week has been a busy week. To play, I've spent on Mario Golf last night, and then just chipping away at Final Fantasy Remake. Like I was
Yes.
telling you before the show, I got to the part where I fought the Hell House, which was real fun.
It's
Real ridiculous, but real fun. That whole chapter has been ridiculous. Like, what's that town called?
I've actually gone Wall
God.
Market.
Yeah, War Market and the Honeybee Inn
Honeybee.
and
Oh my god. You have a road in front of you, the wild road, let me tell you.
it's real fun. Do you want to know the thing? Because I remember last week when we were talking about it, you were saying that a lot of these areas feel lived in, like a
Mm,
lot of these, and I do agree with that. Like you walk past and people are having conversations. Like in War Market, you walk past a stall that is selling sweet materia balls, which is like a dessert that is
mm.
meant to look like the materia orbs or
Interior.
whatever, which is kind of cute. Like I like that sort of like window dressing.
Yeah.
But I am slightly disappointed that there's very little to do in these cities.
Yeah,
At
it's
least
true.
in the ones where there's no side quests. It's like you just walking between waypoints and encountering all this really,
Mm,
really good world building, but you can't actually interact with it in a
mm.
meaningful way. There's like only like 1 or 2 merchants in the entire city too. So it's
Yeah.
not like I can go and buy interesting things from people. Like I thought I saw these people eating these materials and I'm like, oh sweet, maybe I can buy some and it'll give me health. It's like, no, you can't buy any.
No.
Like
Yeah, it's true.
you walk into a bar and you can interact with the bartender and all he does is tell you to sit down, but you can't sit down. It's like it just felt weird. Like
yeah, there are
just,
limitations. It's like
yeah,
you can have one or the other.
Yeah, it's like I understand now in a way how they managed to get a lot of visual fidelity in there, because a lot of the times you're not doing much else. Like you're just observing the sights and sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still like that is a small critique on a game that I'm thoroughly enjoying, like having an absolutely great time. The combat, like we said last week, is just sublime. I think it's really good. I still feel like I haven't figured it out fully because I'm not using loads of spells constantly. I'm using a lot of the same attacks, so I feel like maybe if I play it on hardware, I'm forced to interact with those things more, and then I'll understand it a bit more. But it's still like leaps and bounds ahead of the combat in Final Fantasy 15 or something like that.
Yeah. So do you know in hard mode that I'm sure you do know this, but maybe forgotten that apart from having to really understand enemies, you cannot use items in hard mode.
Wait, what?
You cannot use items in hard mode.
You can't use healing items at all?
You can't use items in hard mode.
Not even outside of battle?
Nope. So you...
What?
So, yeah, it becomes...
That's ridiculous.
No, see, I thought the same thing, but that really forces you to become strategic of like, for example, you can cast spells, but what are you going to do? You can't top up your MP.
You
with
can't
no
top up your
ether.
MP. Oh, shit. Then you can't use Phoenix Downs. You can't. So that means you have to be so much more defensive. You have to block every opportunity you have.
No, look, it becomes more of a, like your standard enemies. Look, there are ways around it. Like, for example, there's a blessing materia, which I didn't really use during my normal playthrough because, like, I've got cure and whatever, but blessing doesn't use mana. So that's like, for example, your go-to healing spell.
It's like Aerith's Prey ability.
Yeah, there are ways around that, but that is like a real restriction that makes you go, shit, like I need to really think about what my loadout is, how am I using these spells. So yeah, just keep that in the back of your mind if you want to play a hard mode after.
It's interesting because I've just unlocked, now that I've done the Hell House, I've unlocked that arena to go and continue doing like combat challenges, and it did say that you're not allowed to use items, so it's like a little taste of what it is. I did come across the gym where I saw people squatting, and I do know there's a squatting minigame because I've seen it, but I can't do it there. Is it somewhere else?
No, it's at the gym. Maybe you need to talk to a specific person though. Maybe.
No, I ran around the gym looking for an interaction, but I do want to do the squatting minigame.
Because there's a squatting minigame and there's a minigame with Tifa. Is
darts.
It pull-ups? No, there's, you go back there with Tifa as well. There is another minigame and there's a trophy tied to it. So
okay, I need to do that. I really like the darts minigame. If I can wipe the floor with Wedge, got a perfect game. It's great.
Wedge, what a good guy. It's like if you.
It was so good though, because it's like, we're going on the bombing run, let's go. And I'm like, nah,
but first.
Yeah.
That's the nature of these games though. It's like the world's about to end.
I really struggled taking Wedge seriously, especially, knowing who the voice actor is.
Yes.
He's what's his name?
Badger. No, not
Badger. Yeah, I was going to say Beaver. Wow. Badger from Breaking Bad, and every time he talks, that's all I hear and all I see. Just like waiting for Wedge to ask for like meth or something.
That's real good.
Those characters, Wedge and Biggs, they're named after the Star Wars characters, surely.
I think it is an Easter egg, yeah.
Because they're like in every game as well. They were in 15.
There
was a Wedge and Biggs.
They were in 6 as well. I think not every game, or maybe they have some other cameo in most of the games, if I'm not mistaken. And then just in Final Fantasy VII, they were part of Avalanche.
Biggs seems like such a nice dude. Like he helped that charity, that kid's orphanage. He's like not an idiot. Like Jesse should be going for him, not for Cloud. God damn it.
Jesse.
So thirsty.
Paint a picture. My God, that game's good. I'm excited for you to keep playing.
It's really good.
Because let me tell you, there's still. I just say there's so much stuff ahead of you. I'm like, oh, please message me when you get to this part or do that thing.
No, I'm having a really good time. I really enjoyed those 3 bandits that you fight on the way to War Market, and then they're
I
like they're like
I
one of the final bosses. They're
yeah,
so
I love
stupid.
even the battle theme and that whole
Yeah.
tunnel area. It's so good. Like between running and when you get into a fight, it's so playful and it's just man. And yeah,
And I love like you beat them and they're like, "Don't
don't
move.
move.
Pretend you're dead."
Yeah, but
So
like we said
funny.
last week, this game's equal parts serious and just like ridiculous.
It's
And
completely
if you're
ridiculous at
gonna take
times.
it like you can't take it seriously because then you won't like it. Just embrace
Yeah.
that there's just some weird stuff about it and yeah, I
There's a
think
lot of silliness.
yeah.
Like with all the orphan kids in Eric's hometown, there was a lot of silliness attributed with them. Like really.
Oh, so
I did
you've
like that mini game breaking the boxes. That was real fun. That was cool.
yeah. So you've also fought what's to do with the glasses from the Turks? Is it Torino
Oh,
and is it Guy? Is it
no,
no?
it's not Guy.
What's
But I
his
know who you're
name?
talking about. But it's Rena's
That
partner. Yeah, I
even
fought them
that boss
both.
fight, so good, man. It's
Yeah, it's
just
so
like
stupid, but
you
it's
broke my
so.
glasses.
And he just pulls out another pair. Like
Oh, I love it so much.
and he
Yeah.
just gets a phone call. It's like, okay, gotta go. Okay.
My God. But
I
yeah.
recall there being a main character Turk in Crisis Core with long hair. Does he
Yes.
pop up again in 7?
It's Sung, yeah. He's
Sung.
around.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
But the guy's name's Rude.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Love it. What a time. Yeah,
God,
keep,
some of the banter in this game is ridiculous though. Like you're going into the arena with Cloud and Aerith, and some dude from the audience shouts at Aerith like, "Are you going to strip on that pole?" And I'm like, "Wow, holy shit!"
Isn't it amazing though that throughout the game there's just constant banter between the characters as well? Like from beginning to end, it just doesn't let up. There's constantly dialogue
And it's
between
really
them.
good.
Yeah,
It's really good.
yeah.
The
And
the
they
payoff of the high five between Cloud and Aerith, really
it was
fun.
so good. Yeah, if you guys are listening, you haven't played this game, let me tell you, it's a good time.
It's a great time.
Yeah.
Like I played little bits and pieces of the original. I have no real reverence for it. I have a real reverence for Crisis Core because I think
Yeah.
that game is spectacular.
Mm.
But like I don't recall a lot of these events, so and I'm still like loving it. I think
a lot of this is painted in though. Like a lot of the stuff didn't happen in the original. So I mean, remember
but that's part of what's great. It's like
yeah.
it's good for newcomers and people who
Mm.
have consumed the original tons like you did.
Yeah, I mean, I know we've said this like 4 million times in this show because we've spoken about remake a lot because we both really like it. But like this remake represents the first like 5 to 8 hours of the original game, and they've expanded it. And I mean, when the game was launching, and they're like, no, it's a 30-40 hour game. We're like, what are they
Yeah,
going
I
to do?
thought, oh god, that's just going to be filler.
How are they going to stretch this out for 30 to 40 hours? And having played it, and now you're just about halfway, you can see like, oh, some of it is silly, but some of it is just, it makes you love these characters more. Like you get to know them because there's breathing room to get to know them better.
It gives a lot more context
Yeah.
to a lot of these characters. And like when you say that, like you think of the original Midgar section being 5 to 8 hours, and you know what happens at the end there. It's like, wow, you really didn't get to connect with a lot of characters in the way that you thought you did, especially given how important they seem to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
I'm very
good game.
keen to get the dog
chipping
Red.
away.
I want to see good talking dog Red.
You just call him a dog? I can't believe you.
He is a dog, isn't he?
No, he's like a cat. He's like a
Cerberus. What are the dogs that Shinra sends with you with tentacle heads? Are they cats or they dogs?
No, those are, they've got a
Cerberus
name.
dogs or whatever.
Those are like Cerberus dogs, yeah. But Red is not.
Red's
Man,
a cat. He
Red
looks
Red
like
is,
Scar from Lion King.
Yeah, Red is my favorite character from the original, and let me tell you, you only get like a little taste of him in this game, and his voice actor, he's just perfect. Like I can't wait for the second game. I really can't.
And then you'll be a party member in the second game.
And then you get to fight as him. It's gonna be so good. Yeah, I think that's what I'm most excited for is that like the combat between these 4 characters in this game have been it's really good. And you think, I mean, the DLC you've got Yuffie and there's another dude she's with, but you still got Red, you got Sid, you got all these other characters coming up. Can't wait.
I actually forgot about Sid. Yeah.
Oh man, there's too much to look forward to.
Should we bounce to game releases then?
Sure.
Can you believe
releases.
we're at the end of June? I don't
Can't
actually
believe
think
it.
there's like 3 games.
Got to timestamp these 3 games. Please hold. We're getting into July just about.
Yep. And July has got some bangers, Got that Skyward Sword.
Oh, is that July? Oh my god.
Yeah. Got that The Ascent, which looks really good. Where's that other game? There's that Death's Door. That's the one. Yeah, that's the one
that's
I'm
coming out.
keen
That's
for.
in July, yeah.
Cannot wait for that. Very excited for that. So yeah. But for now, we're looking at game releases just until the end of June, and there's essentially 3 of them. Got a game called Ever Forward. Just keep going forward. It's like Matty's mantra when he plays Mario Golf.
I know, just keep going forward.
Ever Forward. Rico London. PC, PS4, and PS5. For some reason, I'm not sure what that is. Rico sounds like a mafia game. Like the court thing, Rico.
Rico London.
And then Sky, Children of Light, which I think is out on June 30th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
that's coming to Switch.
Yeah, we've touched on that. It was the same dude who made Journey, basically.
Came out on mobile like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, I think Switch. I mean, I hope it comes to more than just Switch as well at some stage, because I think
game's good.
Yeah,
game's real fun.
Keen to look into that.
And I think with the actual controller, the flight is going to feel amazing. So yeah.
Yeah, so not much in June, but if we bounce over to gaming news, there's also not much. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, this is the real post E3 thing now. Now it's just like everyone's kind of like catching their breath and just recouping until, things really kick off August, September, where, releases come in thick and fast. So
but there are some nuggets like this story where there are some hot rumors that Dead Space could see a revival, which is equal parts exciting and terrifying.
I'm curious about this. So EA is doing what would have been their E3 thing. They're doing it on July 22nd, called EA Play Live again. And according to 2 different... So there's actually 3 different sources on this. So you've got Jeff Grubb of GamesBeat, who says that EA Motive Studios, so Motive did like portions of the Battlefront games. It used to be led by Jade Raymond, no longer the case. But apparently they are working on a dormant EA IP.
No boy.
And Video Games Chronicle and Eurogamer reported hearing the same. And then Gematsu said they had heard the same, and that they had heard it was actually a reimagining of Dead Space. So I don't think necessarily a sequel, but maybe, another story within that universe, or just a full-on remake.
Just a reboot, yeah.
Yeah, a reboot of sorts. So, fuck yeah, I'm down, man.
Isn't it
Dead Space.
wild to think that Dead Space came out? Like, I played that on PS3. Like, it's 2 generations old now.
Yeah.
So I'd be very keen to see a reimagining with, imagine with what they could do with ray tracing, for example. Like you walk up to a window and you see something reflected behind you, like, oh God. I want it, but I don't want it.
the lighting and stuff, because I mean those games they were great because they were so atmospheric. I mean, everything from the sound to the like empty halls of like spaceships and stuff, just perfect. So I love Dead Space 1 and 2. 3 is fine, it is what it is. But yeah, I actually recently started replaying 2 because after I finished Resident Evil 8, I was itching for a horror experience again. And let me tell you, that game holds up. It's real fucking good still.
Does it make you cry?
It's scary, but I like it. What's
You
interesting
say
though,
this now, but we know you're crying yourself to sleep and like, oh,
the
it's so
necromorphs. I'm just
terrifying.
thinking that combat is still so unique though. It's just like, I mean, if you haven't played a Dead Space, it's mostly about atmosphere and especially sound. At the time, the sound design was like
It's
really miles
unreal,
ahead of
yeah.
everything. Yeah, but I think the combat is really unique in that you need to dismember your enemies. You're not necessarily just going for headshots like a Resident Evil. Um, and I think the design of the weapons and the design of the necromorphs, the monsters, is just varied enough that it keeps that idea interesting throughout. It's really, really fun.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, the original game, one of the co-creators, Glenn Schofield, he eventually went on to make Call of Duty, Advanced Warfare and stuff, but he's now actually working at a studio called Striking Distance. He's leading it, and they are the ones making the Callisto Protocol, which is that very Dead Space looking thing set in the PUBG universe. The prison on
Interesting.
space. So, yeah, I mean, could we get two reimaginings of the Dead Space idea? One
My
from the
God.
original creator? Fucking down. I'm there,
Fun
man.
fact, I've met Glenn Schofield for...
Same.
I met him for... Which Call of Duty was it? Was it Advanced Warfare? Which one did he work on?
I met him on Advanced Warfare. It was like the first international trip I did for Critical Hit, and I interviewed him. He did Advanced Warfare and he did World War II as well.
Did you go to a preview event?
Yes, I went to.
Okay,
I think you went to the
I
review
went to the review
event.
event. Yeah, okay. So I also met him there, yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
You went to London, I assume.
London, yes.
London, oi.
Oi.
Yeah,
Give me fish and chips.
I went to a preview event and interviewed him. He's like this really big man.
Yeah.
Who, like, you could see, like, in another life could be like a football player, like really jacked.
It's kind of weird because, like, he's not the stereotypical, like, nerdy looking developer. I'm like, damn, this guy could beat me up. Like, he's big and strong.
And then he's like so soft spoken, really nice guy.
Yeah.
Like, really one of the coolest developers I've had the pleasure of meeting. And then if you follow him on Twitter, he's a great Twitter follower. He tweets out like he's very big into oil paintings and he does a lot of art. So in this like little sabbatical from games, he was just producing a lot of like paintings, and it's like just so cool. Just seems like a really chilled out guy. Yeah.
We think he's just doing these cool oil paintings, but he's busy painting like Callisto Project concept art, and his family are like, oh my God, can't believe he imagined half of that.
Yeah, that's also pretty true, yeah.
Oh, Dad, are you okay? Yeah,
so,
I'm keen to see. Look,
we'll see this on July 22nd.
Soon enough, yeah.
Yeah. I'm keen. It would be a nice surprise because, when you think about all the press conferences from E3 that just passed, like Ubisoft had a lot of updates on games we knew about, very few surprises. If any, actually, so for EA to come out with a surprise like this, that'd be dope. It'd be
amazing. What should we bounce to next? Should we just very briefly talk about this blue box drama? Because last week when we recorded, I think it was sort of that it was happening, but it wasn't. It was just like question marks everywhere, and I think there still are a lot of question marks everywhere. But the long and the short of it is that the gaming world thinks that Kojima is secretly working on a Silent Hill reboot, because he worked on PT. He was working on Silent Hill back in the day before him and Konami split up. And they think he's doing it under a persona who just, a pseudonym who just happens to share the same, first... What is the word I'm looking for? Not syllables. What's the word I'm looking for? The person's got the same the first letter of each
initials.
Jeez, I just couldn't get that word. This developer, aka pseudonym, has the same initials as Hideo Kojima. So naturally, the internet is now like, there's a Silent Hill reboot happening, and when is it being revealed? But if it turns out that this isn't true, which seems to be the case, it seems that this is just an indie studio who are working on a big I think it's a PS exclusive.
Yeah, it's a PlayStation 5 exclusive, I think.
Which has just further fueled rumors because people are like, oh wow, like PlayStation have backed this project, like it has to be Silent Hill. So I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just this big question mark where these developers are like, no, we're not working Silent Hill. Like, please, we're just a small indie studio.
You know what happened? I think this was a bit of a mistake on both parts. So like
Yeah.
this indie studio definitely saw the potential to market this in this way, because they put out tweets like, oh, their game when it was revealed in April was called Abandoned, and it looked like a first person like horror survival game in the vein of like a Resident Evil, the current Resident Evils. And then they tweeted out saying that the real name of the game actually isn't Abandoned. It's a however many letter title starts with S and ends with L.
An L.
And everyone's like,
Silent Hill.
yeah. But it could also be so many other things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, so they do that in the midst of already, like, you have folks like Jeff Keighley who's going to re-reveal the game, and everyone's like, okay, Jeff Keighley and Hideo Kojima, and then you have like
BFFs.
the initials, and then, you have all these, in my mind, really compelling coincidences, but then it's snowballed completely out of control.
Yeah.
So to the point where now the studio, the creator, what's his name? Hassan Karaman?
Yeah.
He basically put out a video and he's like, listen, we are not associated with Konami. We're not making Silent Hill. We're not associated with Hideo Kojima. We're just this indie studio trying to, get this game out. And we got a chance to do it with Sony. And the more you dig into it, the more you can see that, the studio's been around for a while. They've had many Kickstarters on games. They've actually developed some games. So for it to be an elaborate scheme had to have been planned like years ago. And I just don't think that that's what it is. It seems incredibly impossible, like, that this is in any way associated to Kojima, and especially Konami. Like, the first red flag should have been like, why the fuck would Kojima work with Konami?
Yeah.
Konami still owns Silent Hill.
They own Silent Hill,
like, that's the biggest, like, this is super not happening.
Unless it is.
I don't know. I feel really bad. All those videos of the developer, he just looks tired.
Yeah, I
think he maybe had fun and then it just turned into something he didn't expect.
It's a wild place, the internet.
It is a wild thing, and some people still believe it. But I think you're setting yourself up for disappointments, and in the worst case, you're setting this studio up for more like online abuse, which sucks.
Yeah. If you are interested, though, Jason Schreier did a piece on Bloomberg, which like gives a really good overview of all the drama. I mean, that's what I read. So I ignored all the news last week, and then this just caught me up. So I was like, oh, okay, now I understand what's going on here. What else? I suppose we could bounce back to EA quickly. They have acquired mobile games developer Playdemic for a cool $1.4 billion, which is
a lot of money.
That is some big moolah, can I tell you?
So this is a mobile developer that makes a game. Yeah, you're just scrolling a golf clash. I mean, it's no Mario Super Rush, but I guess golf.
I mean, does it make...
So Warner Media is going through this weird thing where they got repurchased by Discovery or something. I don't know. It's like lots of like corporate shenanigans. And as part of that, they're selling off some of their game studios. Apparently, their core studios, quote unquote, will be fine. But I guess this was one such sell. But for EA to pay $1.4 billion for this, it must mean that this IP especially is just like worth a lot of money. Just one of those games that kind of like flies under the radar, sort of like Roblox, which doesn't get a lot of mainstream attention, but is like the biggest game in the world by magnitudes. So that's cool. That's a lot of money. I just keep thinking of like Sony buying Insomniac for like 230 million, and then I look at this and I'm like, holy shit.
I mean, and Insomniac have done some pretty incredible things. So
yep.
Sonic turned 30 this year.
Tell me about this. Tell me about Sonic Block Mode.
So yeah, Sonic turned 13. There's been a whole lot of celebrations, but I think the most unexpected one, nothing I expected at least, was Sonic Minecraft getting some Sonic DLC. And it's not, I thought like, okay, it's just Sonic
A
skins.
skin pack, yeah.
Maybe some cool blocks or designs. It's not. It looks like a full, oh
Yeah.
God, that is so loud. Hang on. Looks like a fully fledged game. Hang on, if I just pull up the trailer. So sorry, audio listeners, you can't watch, but it looks like a full-on 3D Sonic with, it's a mix of 2D and 3D, I guess.
That first-person view of like doing a Sonic level looks so chaotic. It looks ridiculous. But yeah, like you said, it looks like recreations of like, there's Laboratory. You've got Green Hill Zone as well. It's a very intense bit of DLC. Got Knuckles the Echidna, Shadow. I guess they can't give Shadow a gun. I don't know if they're guns in Minecraft.
I don't know. It's just I would never in my wildest dreams have thought that Sonic of all characters would get a Minecraft DLC like on this level.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you big into Minecraft,
who's the pink hedgehog?
I
don't know
no
who the
idea.
pink hedgehog.
My Sonic knowledge is just non-existent. If I'm being honest, I only know Sonic and Knuckles and Tails, and that's the extent of my knowledge, really.
And Shadow, how dare you
Shadow.
disrespect the best hedgehog out there?
Who the hell is Shadow?
Shadow's the black hedgehog with a gun.
Who cares about Shadow?
Oh how dare you? He's got 2 guns. He'll shoot you.
Not in the Minecraft.
Yeah, not in the Minecraft game. That's too intense. That's too rough and raw for Minecraft.
I think
that's an intense bit of DLC.
My favorite part of this DLC
scary,
though is that the rings are actually just square.
I mean Sonic's hair. I mean you can see from that screenshot there. Look how like extended out his hair is. It
they
looks
had to get
so
the sparkiness
weird.
somewhere.
I appreciate like how they've recreated it because it looks as good as I thought a Sonic would in Minecraft, but it still looks bizarre. It still looks so weird. That's cool.
We touched on Insomniac earlier. They are hiring for a new multiplayer project.
Yes, check this guy who wrote this article. Damn.
Whoa! I hate this Alessandro guy. Well, seeing as you wrote it, you can tell us then.
It was just kind of like a weird thing. Insomniac put out a tweet saying that they're hiring, and the 5 job openings are all very senior ones. You've got like creative director, story lead, art director, but explicitly in the tweet they say, let's see, Insomniac is hiring. We have 5 new job openings for a multiplayer project. Interesting. Mm-hmm. And the systems designer job is specifically for multiplayer. So, yeah, I don't know if that means they're making a multiplayer component for like an existing IP, attaching it to a single player project they have ongoing. Is it a brand new IP? Insomniac has done multiplayer in the past. They did Resistance on PlayStation 3, which had multiplayer. They did Fuse, which was not that good, but it was still multiplayer. Sunset Overdrive had some competitive co-op element to it as well. So, there's ways to put it in, but it's interesting to see because their modern history is all single player games.
It's all single player stuff, yeah.
Spider-Man, Ratchet
really
and Clank.
Good.
Yeah. So
I mean, a multiplayer Spider-Man.
Into the Spider-Verse multiplayer Spider-Man.
I mean, we've got Miles Morales and Peter Parker.
I'd play that.
We're playing a co-op Spider-Man game next. You heard it here first. Take it to the bank. Or
thing I'd be keen on.
Yeah. What are you keen on? A multiplayer Ratchet and Clank?
No, Sunset Overdrive. I think a sequel to Sunset Overdrive with multiplayer. Yeah. Funny enough, the older Ratchet and Clanks had multiplayer. I distinctly remember playing PS2 ones where it would be like a map, and you would play as a Ratchet and Clank. And it was kind of cool. It was like Conquest in Battlefield, where there were 5 points in the map with a little bolt that you had to screw down, and you had to like you could get into like ships and fly there and screw take it over, and when you take it over, then you get defenses of that base that pop up. So it's like it was actually really fun. I remember playing a bunch of it. I'm not saying that they're going to do that now. I don't think that was a big
you heard it,
thing
yeah.
back then. But yeah, Ratchet and Clank had multiplayer once upon a time. It was cool.
That's cool. So yeah, they're hiring.
They always seem to be working on something, and they seem to have multiple teams. So I think just because they put out Ratchet and Clank doesn't mean they're like only starting something now. Although this project, if they're still hiring a creative director, this is still
early days.
I think.
Yeah. But I mean, if you think that they had Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Rift Apart like in the space of what, like 4 years?
6 months, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Overall, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 4 years, yeah, which is crazy.
4 years, which is.
And then just before that, they had the Ratchet and Clank remake.
Yes, in 2016. So yeah, that's 4 games in the space of 5 years.
It's pretty mental. Yeah.
Okay, WitcherCon trailer promises Witcher 2 season surprises. So this is more TV, but hey, Witcher's a game and we love the Witcher.
You know, it could be. I mean, some developers from CD Projekt Red were saying there are going to be some surprises there, which could be tied to maybe the next gen patches of The Witcher, which are apparently coming this year still. So maybe it will be like a tease of that.
Or just The Witcher 4. The Witcher prequel, the Siri prequel. You never knew you wanted.
I'd play that. I definitely would play that. But yeah, WitcherCon is like a collaboration between CD Projekt Red and Netflix. It's happening on July 9th, I think. And I'm pretty sure that's where we're going to get like a proper trailer for the second season of the show and probably a release date, which, we're coming up on 2 years since the first season. So I'm itching to see this.
And it was good. I enjoyed the first season.
I did too. Yeah, really enjoyed it.
It's a good time.
So yeah.
And last piece of news, GoldenEye 007 recreation in Far Cry 5 removed following copyright takedown. Wow. Also written by this bozo, Alessandro Barbosa.
Did a lot of work this week,
Wow.
Yeah, so I didn't really follow this up until this point, but there's a YouTuber by the name of Crollywood who apparently has been working for like 2 or 3 years on faithfully recreating the whole of the N64's GoldenEye, just using the Far Cry 5 level editor. And he recently finished, and it's a game within a game, so it's distributed to whoever's got Far Cry 5. But apparently MGM, the owners of the James Bond, trademark, contacted Ubisoft and got it taken down, which kind of sucks because he's not using assets from the original. He's not stealing anything. I guess they just have an issue with it being called GoldenEye, considering there's a copyright trademark on that. So, he could definitely change the name of this and put it out and probably be fine. So
Schmoldeneye 00 Schmeven.
Exactly. I mean, can't come after that. I just find that it's so cool. Like he recreated like the level design, the sort of like enemy placements and stuff, and you're still using obviously the Far Cry 5 mechanics. But yeah, I mean that's pretty cool for a game that people have been hoping and praying for a sort of re-release or remaster of this. But I think it was Phil Spencer in 2015 who said they've looked at it multiple times, but it's just the rights of all
I'm sure
is such
it's
a fucking mess.
So much paperwork and just
I think he actually said they've tried multiple times and they've just given up because it's just a nightmare to try and get it right. So,
it's kind of weird though, because think about the fact that GoldenEye exists in the first place. Like that was a greenlit game back then. Like do these
and
people
in a way defined like first person shooters as we know them. Yeah.
I mean, and sorry, on a Nintendo platform. Nintendo is not known to be a shooter platform.
With the weirdest controller as well.
Exactly.
The stickers in the middle, yeah.
I mean, that like does MGM not like money? Well, I mean, they're purchased by Amazon. Does Amazon not like money?
I'm sure Jeff Bezos does.
Oh my god, this is like people have been clamoring for this. Unless maybe in some weird way this is them, take it down because we're making our own or something.
Well, I mean, IO Interactive, the makers of Hitman, are working on an original James Bond game. Yeah. Actually, very keen to see what they do with that because I think that could be really good.
It'd be really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is all the gaming news for this week.
So that means we transitioning into questions. If you want to send us a question, you can email us, checkpointchatpodcast@gmail.com. You can also message us on all of our social platforms at Checkpoint Chat on Facebook, Twitter. What are the other social platforms?
All the
Instagram,
places. Oops.
TikTok. Got to remember
And
TikTok.
TikToks. Gotta keep that in. Let me just check. So when I last checked, there was nothing on Instagram, nothing on Twitter, nothing on Facebook, but we did have 2 questions on email from faithful listener Malesh, who
Malesh
asks.
from Down Under. Oi.
So his first email is just called 10,000. He says, "Hey guys,
Okay.
Gauteng COVID stats are scary as fuck. 10,000 cases a day. Hoping that you and your Gauteng listeners are keeping safe. How are you guys coping these days?"
I think it's actually more than that. If I'm not mistaken,
yesterday
it reached
was
13.
no, yesterday. Oh, not in Gauteng, but yesterday in South Africa was 18,000, I think. So we are fast approaching, the peak of what we had in Wave 2. And I think we're gonna rocket past it. Sorry
Oh
to
yeah,
say.
I mean, if you look at the graphs superimposed on each other, this Wave 3 is way steeper. Yeah,
way steeper.
it's
Um,
it's a mystery. Well, okay, it's not a mystery because I'm sure it's economically, there's economic considerations, but we should be in a hard lockdown. Yeah, it's bad. Like if we were in hard lockdowns for half of this last year, we should be in a hard lockdown because especially in Gauteng, it's fucking bad. Like everyone, I mean, far more people I know getting infected. People dying, the death rate, and the hospitals are back to like full capacity. So it's bad. It's really, really bad, and I feel like because we aren't being forced to lock down. I mean, you go to a restaurant, it's still full. Like people have no real common sense. So
no, it's kind of wild to see that the numbers are high and people just like, I get some restaurants are safe. Like some restaurants you can sit outside, for example, and there's safe distances, whatever. But some restaurants just aren't. Like
I really get irritated by this because like unless the government forces us to do things, we like the general public doesn't do it. And then when the government does force us, we're like, how dare you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like if all of us had common sense, we wouldn't have to shut down restaurants. We wouldn't have to shut down sales of alcohol, nothing like that. Like it would just be fine and everyone would be considerate to one another. But that's just like,
and not only that, like
that's not a South African thing. That's a global
thing.
So.
Yeah. My biggest frustration is that like if people were cautious, like globally, we could have shut this thing down
ages ago. Yep.
But I don't know. It's just wild to think now. I think Malaysia is how we're coping. Like to be perfectly honest, I've been okay purely because like I have no issue chilling at home and doing things remotely because I think inherently I am somewhat of an introvert. Like I do like being in my own space. But I think there are days where it just feels like, when does this shit end? Like when will it stop? Because even now it's like, cool, you've got vaccines on the horizon. The numbers were low for a long time, but we're going to get vaccinated and we're going to go back to normal, whatever normality looks like in a year or two. But then there's, we're starting to see in the news this week this Delta variant, which we mentioned at the top of the show, making its rounds in places that have been vaccinated, and it's like way more contagious to the point where people are getting it within seconds, and it's like, okay.
and that's the one that's busy ravaging like Australia now.
So
the UK.
So it's inevitably going to reach us at some point, and I just don't know how. Not even South Africa. I just don't know how, like globally, we'll deal with this, because if COVID itself is bad enough, like it hits America hard, it hit a lot of places hard, and that was the thing of, you have to be with someone for like 15 plus minutes before transmits, like just for argument's sake. If this thing's transmitting within seconds, and there already is this element of ignorance and no mask wearing, I'm like, well, maybe humanity's going to be wiped out. Okay, I don't think it's that severe, but there's just I don't know, like when does it end now?
But that's the thing. It's like everyone thought the vaccines were the end goal, and it's like not. Like the thing that and I understand why people don't understand this because it's poorly communicated, but like when you get the vaccine, you can still get sick.
Yeah, you just
The
won't
vaccine
die. it's
again, this is
it's
this is what
yeah,
we're told, but these variants are like they are still people who have been vaccinated,
that
and these
yeah,
variants are still putting them in life-threatening situations.
for
So,
sure, yeah.
and on top of it, you don't know the I mean, there's all these studies coming out, you know, predicting long-term effects of this thing. But the fact is, we can't know for sure the long-term effects of being infected by this until 10 years from now.
Yeah.
You know, so even if you're not in a life-threatening situation now, what it could do to your body, you know, in the future is unknown, and that's scary enough to be like, even if I've got the vaccine, will I wear a mask? Fuck yes, of course I will,
Mm,
because I don't want to get this. Period. The vaccine is just there that if I do get it, I might not die, which is
yeah.
great.
I
It's
mean,
not a
and
silver bullet. Yeah.
mask wearing is a thing we are not going to see disappear.
Mm.
Like I
And that's
think,
fine. I
yeah.
think that's totally fine. I haven't been sick with the flu in a year. That's fucking awesome. You know, that's great. So yeah, I get it. It it's stressful on the mind. It really is, and
Mm,
it can bring you down for sure. I think especially in the case of you and Lenska, because you've been even more cautious than I've been. You know,
mm,
considering that you're living with her parents who are at risk. You know, Shani and
mm,
I luckily don't have that component in our life, and you know it adds stress. So,
yeah.
but at the end of the day, it is what it is, and you know you've got to think: do you want to risk it and then potentially like lose a loved one? Like
Mm,
that's the equation you got to be doing in your head.
yeah.
So
It's
yeah.
a weird thing of like I know it sucks to be stuck at home, but it's a thing of just take it easy. Like take it easy for a few months, or
Mm.
we could just live through this
Be
shit
here
for
perpetually.
many years, many years. You know, like
Yep.
maybe it won't go away. Like it's a scary thing to think that oh, there's a Delta variant now. That's not the last variant we'll see. Like we'll scramble now, learn to deal with it. Oh shit, there's something else. Like I don't know. It's
I mean,
just
this is why scientists are already saying we will likely have to have annual vaccines, like
mm,
sort of like your flu shot. Eventually, it will get
mm,
to that point where you're having your annual booster. But it's going to take a while to get to the point where you know where we are with flu, where we get you know to that point with COVID, if ever. We don't know.
yeah.
So
Who
yeah,
knows? But yeah.
all you got to do
So
is you know you stay safe in your own capacity. You don't depend on other people.
mm,
And you do what is right for you.
yeah,
Um,
for sure.
I think other people who are telling you you don't need a mask or you don't need a vaccine can fuck right off. They can choose their own path for that sort of thing, and you know take the consequences associated with that.
Yeah, I think my biggest frustration with this whole thing has been like I've reined myself in the sense of like in the past be like, oh my God, I can't believe a person's done this, like gone out to a restaurant without a mask. Like my mom was one of those people. I was like, Jesus, like could you stop going out every weekend? But I've reached a point of like, you know what, it's your choice. If you want to do that, cool. But what frustrates me is when it's the other way around of like, I've had people like friends and family make comments of like, oh, like I can't believe you taking it so seriously. But like, I'm not giving them shit. So I don't know
Mm,
why it
mm.
just works the other way around.
Yeah, but
But
that
anyway,
that's exactly what I mean. It's like someone invites you over. You're like, sorry, I you know I don't really want to come over because I don't feel safe, or like, yeah, you're not really respecting the rules, so I don't feel safe. Like
yeah.
those are part of the consequences, and yeah, that's going to create friction. I feel really bad, like when you were telling me about the friction created within your family. That like I feel very fortunate that I mean my family's much smaller, but you know everyone seems to be on the same page about that because I
Mm,
can understand that it causes a lot of headaches, and that adds to the stress of the whole situation. So
yeah.
yeah, that's crap. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's
But
all
hope you are
good.
keeping safe, Milesh, in Australia, because that Delta variant
Crikey.
seems fucking crazy. So,
Yeah, please.
yeah, please keep safe.
Stay safe. But he has a follow up question. He says, how many COVID tests have you done, or have you been lucky enough to avoid the dreaded brain tickle? Had my second one yesterday, and fucking hell, it's uncomfortable. My kids have had it worse, 5 and 8 times respectively,
Whoa.
because GPs don't see you until you've had a test first, and they managed to catch every bug that went around this year.
Whoa.
Hectic. So when
I think for kids that must fucking suck.
Yeah,
Man,
like how do you explain that? My God.
No, that I feel really bad. Damn.
So I caught a cold or something in Cape Town where I was just very congested. I was coughing, and it reached a point of like, well, let me just go get a test because you never know. So I've had one test, and let me tell you, those 3 seconds were awful. But it's just a really unpleasant feeling. But it made me laugh, thinking like, if I pulled that face when I had that thing shoved up, tickling my brain, I'd love to see a photographer do like a photo series of just people's reactions, because it's really unpleasant. And
I'm sure it's a constant source of amusement for the nurses.
I'm sure, but you can't help it because you just like clench your eyes. You're like, oh.
It's like a sneeze being forced right up back your nose.
Oh no, it's worse. They stick. It's almost like a giant earbud. They stick it up your nose. You're like, okay, that's far enough. Like surely they're fine. They just keep going. Like, okay, now you need to stop now, and they just keep going, and then they reach like an end, and they just like jiggle it and they pull it out.
Oh no, I hate things up my nose. I mean, my thing, if I ever get admitted to a hospital, is like when they put the oxygen tubes in your nose. Like, no, don't want that. So I've thankfully avoided needing a test. Shani got one and she equally hated it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does not sound like a fun time. It sounds absolutely
that should be enough
horrendous.
to put you off COVID.
Exactly. Like,
I
remember when it first started, everyone's like, have you seen what a COVID test looks like? Do you want that shit? Like,
no thanks.
I feel really bad for the, I mean, I watch a lot of Formula One, and they are like essentially a traveling circus. They travel as like a bubble, and they get tested every 3 days.
Oh, shit. Surely by that point you get used to it.
I don't think you ever get used to that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's what's insane is that even though they travel so strictly and stringently, there's still infections every now and then. But they, I think Formula One as a sport is one of the shining examples of how you can continue having a sport while being very careful about it. It's like as soon as there's an infection, that person has to leave the team for like 2 weeks. Like I said, they get tested every 3 days. There's no contact. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, I just compare them. I compare them. Like I watch when they're interviewing people, they still respect social distancing. They all wear masks, whatever. I compare that to watching football, where it's like 22 people running on the pitch and giving each other hugs. I'm like, you motherfuckers, this is exactly why we will be locked down again. Like,
I mean, not only that, like, so Euro's happening at the moment. Portugal's playing today.
Oh God!
By the time you listen to this on Monday, Portugal will have beaten Belgium. Thank God! Can't believe it. Ronaldo scored a hat trick. I can't believe best performance he's ever done. Cool, but like, I know people have been vaccinated, but those stadiums have been full, right? Which is just. I don't know. It's such a weird thing to me.
It's the same. The Grand Prix in Britain is going to be the first full capacity one back. And they're like, okay, you have to have had a COVID test and you had to have had the vaccine. I'm like, that's still leaving like, I don't know. I get why they want to come back to that, but like that still doesn't seem like enough to make sure that no one's going to spread something. It just takes one person.
Yeah.
Especially with this Delta variant, it literally just takes one person.
I think back to being in the office last year when, actually my earliest real memory of COVID was like, oh, there's this virus in China. Like it's causing some havoc there. Sure. Then I actually had a cousin, working in China come home in January. Like, oh, damn, like how's COVID that side? You're hectic, whatever. Then come, I think it was February, March. I'll never forget being in the office where there was this news thing of like, oh shit, like COVID's made its way to South Africa, 8 people on a flight. And it's like, look at us now. It was only 8 people. I mean, there's a reason it reached global levels. It's so easy to.
It's so, I mean, and it was, I mean, a lot of us didn't take it seriously at first because it was this like, oh, it's this disease from China. It's sort of like, we've been here before, like bird flu and H1Z1 and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I heard from my friend Greg, who was in a city not so too far from where it all started, and he was like confined to his apartment for like 3 months and getting only food parcels delivered to his door in a box. Like that's
Yeah.
fucked up, man. Like
Yeah, hectic.
we bitch and moan about our lockdowns, but that is the extreme version of what we could get to. So
Yeah, but sorry to say, they like I think I saw photos around New Year, for example, that they like living normal again, as far as I understand. So it's very like extreme, but shit, it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is your update on COVID.
That's your,
and
your 10-minute
thoughts on
COVID
it.
update. Just just because you haven't been hearing about it every waking second of every waking day. So.
Yeah.
But
that's it.
That's it. We hope everyone's keeping safe. And if you want to send us questions about how you're keeping safe, you can email us, checkpointchatpodcast@gmail.com. You can also message us on all the social platforms at Checkpoint Chat, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, TikTok. Message us whenever. Don't have to wait for that questions post to come in. So yeah.
Oh, sorry. I remember last week Milesh had hashtag TMGTLT.
Oh yeah.
Like, what does it mean? He did actually leave a comment on our YouTube, our last YouTube video, saying it means too many games, too little time.
I like that.
It's a laugh motto.
I do like
right
that.
there.
That's that is it's literally my life and will likely never change. So
good Lord. You wouldn't have it any other way.
Of course. That's been episode 149 of Checkpoint Chat. We're hitting that 150. Holy shit.
Sure. Next week.
Can you believe?
Let me tell you, we've got nothing planned.
I will buy a cupcake and eat
busy.
it on stream.
Yeah.
I'll put a little candle on it. I'll put 150 candles on my cupcake.
Wow.
And then put it in my mouth without blowing them out.
Those are going to have to be the world's smallest candles, can I tell you? Or the world's
biggest cupcake. Yeah. Might as well just be a cake.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for listening. Y'all, we'll be back next week.
Next week with episode 150. Thank you so much for listening. Hope you have a fantastic week. And we'll see
stay safe.
Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.
Goodbye.
Bye.